Back in November, I ran the Dead Horse 50 miler, and it didn't exactly go according to plan. What's up guys, my name is Ben, and in this channel I'm really documenting my progress from really no running background to see how close I can get to my delusional goal of becoming a professional trail runner, whatever that ends up meaning. And at the time of filming this, I'll be running the Dead Horse 50 miler in just a couple weeks. Wanted to kind of bring you along to show you what it was like, what I learned, and how I'm improving, but to give you a little context as to how we got here. So growing up, I was always super active, but I never ran in cross country or track, and was really just focused on my different hyper obsessions, which for the longest time was downhill skating. So from about my freshman year of high school to my sophomore year of college, I competed at different skate events and tried to get as good as I could get, but the risk really just wasn't worth it after my brain developed. And so I realized that I should try something new. So signed up for a half marathon with my buddy Josh, where after a couple months of training, I ended up running 1:28 for my first half marathon. And as you can tell, my face told the story of how I felt after that race, but decided to sign up for the Oklahoma City Marathon about 3 months later and give my shot at the full marathon.
How you feeling? Good, that's all right. Had to pee at mile 2. Right when we started, I had to pee, but oh well.
Where after getting injured at the end of this training block, was really just happy to cross the finish line, but ended up running 3 hours and 12 minutes. Shortly after 2019 though, I ended up taking a 4-year break from running, where I was really just focused on my professional career, where I was really sedentary and honestly unhealthy. But in 2024, decided to pick things back up again and signed up for the Eugene Marathon in April of 2025, where I ended up crossing the finish line in 2:51 and running my first Boston qualifying time, which I was absolutely stoked about in the moment. And a couple months after that, getting back to Colorado Springs, running with some friends in the mountains, I realized trail running is just way more fun. So I signed up for the Pikes Peak Marathon and ended up crossing the finish line in 9th place in 4 hours and 34 minutes, which leads us to today.
Well, treating the bad boys wrong.
Alright, so we made it to Moab. Here's the place. We just happened to take up the entire bench as soon as we put all of our stuff down. But yeah, it's a trendy little place that I guess even has a hangboard for my small ass arms to, do their job. Alright, so it's the day before the race, and now I'm just gonna head to a little trail, do a couple miles. Super easy, shake out the legs, feeling pretty decent. A little stiff, but I think after a little shakeout and kind of just getting the body moving a little bit today. Well, and then staying off the feet, getting some food, should be pretty much ready to go. So definitely a little nervous right now, but also excited. It's fun to just see all the new scenery. Never been to Moab before, so always fun to kind of just be in a new area. So well, let's rock. Alright, so just finished the shakeout run and I am feeling pretty good. I definitely didn't want to stop because of how pretty it was. The shin is feeling, it's a little flared up. I wish it was feeling maybe a little better, but the whole last month of this training block, it's been kind of flaring up and usually warms up around 5 miles in, so not too worried about it, but just with everything, the race coming up, my mind can't stop thinking about it. So off to get some food and then pick up the bib and should be ready to rock for tomorrow. Alright, it's 3:45, just woke up, still feel super tired, got like 4 hours of sleep. Also forgot a bowl, so gonna make some oatmeal and this tiny little bowl that the hotel provided, luckily. And get some carbs in and hopefully start feeling good. But yeah, feeling a little groggy, so hopefully some coffee and food wake me up.
All right, Mike, let's get it, baby.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go, Wesley. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. You're so close. You're so close. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
So the plan was to film during the race. I had my phone in my pocket and was gonna just pull it out. Should have brought my GoPro, but 10 miles in, I was feeling mentally just super honed in and didn't want to distract myself with filming. So if you are hoping for a little bit more of an on-course preview, if you're thinking about running the race in the future, go ahead and check out 55 Miles, the channel, the recent video they did. I'll link it in the description. He does a really good job on breaking down what the course looks like and feels like. Like I mentioned in the beginning, this race didn't go exactly according to plan, but up until this point, the furthest I had run was a marathon. And so everything beyond that was pretty much unknown territory. Here's a breakdown of what happened, and then I'll kind of go over some of the things that I learned during the race. So the race started at 6 a.m. and it's a little bit earlier than some of the other races that I've run, given that it was 50 miles, they had to start earlier. And first mile going in, we were running with headlamps. And like I mentioned, the plan when talking with my coach was to get out in front and kind of feel it out, but to treat the first 25 miles as a warm-up and then to push really on the second climb. But at no point during the race did it feel easy. And when I was going out with the lead pack, I really just wanted to kind of settle in, kind of feel out the competition and what I could do. Maybe got a little bit ahead of myself, but went out first mile or so with a slight grade at about 7:20 pace, and really the goal was more to stick around if I could around 7:45 pace, but really just to feel out the effort because this is my first time. I had no idea what I was doing. First couple 5 miles were a little bit faster than I had planned. We made it to the mile 15 aid station and time was going by really fast, even though the effort did feel a little bit higher than I was hoping for. So for the first probably 25 miles, there was really 4 of us, and there was 2 people in the lead and then me running with the 3rd place or 4th place. We were kind of running together. And at this point, I was really just trying to get in the headspace of I'm running all day. I'm just gonna get used to this and settle in. And the fueling was going down pretty much exactly to plan. I was consuming about 100 grams of carbs an hour. Fluid was going down. But at that 15-20 mile point, my feet started to get some hot spots, and I was worried that I'd have to swap my shoes out at the 2 drop bag spots at mile 15 or 34. So the top 2 guys, as we hit mile 25, are about a minute or 2 ahead of me and Anthony, the ultimate 2nd place finisher. At this point, we hit halfway, we turn around, and I'm feeling pretty decent, but still unsure given the fact that there's 25 more miles to go. And so once we hit about mile 27, is where I put in my headphones, and when the second big climb starts, I try to make a move, kind of solidify my place. So at this point we had just passed 2nd place, who was starting to fade a little bit. And so when I made the move, got into 2nd place and was feeling pretty decent. Here's actually a clip that other channel I had mentioned got of me, so thank you for that footage, 55 miles. And I realized about a mile after I made that move at mile 28-ish that probably wasn't the best move because I realized that running with someone was kind of keeping me going. And so once I made the move, was off by myself, started to fade on that second climb where third place then caught me at mile 30-ish. From there, we ran a couple miles together. He pulled ahead and I was pretty solidly in third, but towards that back half of the race, I was just fading more. And it really got to a point where I had to mentally assess a couple of the small little climbs of, I think I might walk for 3 seconds just to give myself a mental reprieve, and did a couple of these. Didn't really take much time off, but mentally kind of gave me the ease of knowing, okay, I can walk for a second if I just need to calm down my mind. And I was kind of starting to panic at this point just because I really didn't know how it was gonna feel to complete the rest of the race. And the thing about the Dead Horse course, if you're thinking about doing it, is a thing where you look at the map and you think, oh, I can make up some time during this, which would be true, but the way that all the slick rock is pretty uneven, it's really hard to find a rhythm. And so once I made it to the top of that hill at like mile, I think 35, really just started to have a hard time trying to make up time. Was going a little bit faster, but not by much. And so it was really just a grind to the finish. I think maybe this is just because I went out probably a little too hard, and the temperature during the day got a little hotter. It wasn't hot, but it did get to like 65 degrees with direct sunlight. So by mile 44, I look over my shoulder. I'm starting to cramp up pretty bad. And I see some pink shorts behind me, kind of on a distant ledge, probably about a quarter mile away. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, my shot at the podium is completely out of the picture. There's no way I'm gonna fade. Multiple people are gonna pass me. And so make it to the last aid station at mile 45. And I'm really slow to refill my bottles. Just need one more bottle fill at this aid station, and I'm gonna head out, hopefully finish the race as fast as I can. Well, Mr. Pink Shorts behind me catches up, and he ends up running a little bit ahead. And at this section, something you should know about this specific course if you're thinking about doing it, is from mile like 45 to 45 and a half, it's really just about a half-mile section. It's like really thick sand, and it's kind of deflating because you know you only have a little bit left to go, but it's like really challenging to run in. It's flat, so it's not too bad, but like mentally it kind of messes with you. So I see place number, at this point, 3 ahead of me. I'm like, okay, my goal is to just keep up with him. So I catch up with him. We're running for a while. I'm like, okay, well, if I can keep up, should have a good shot. Maybe I'll put a little gas in at the finish. Hopefully maybe end up top 3. Sadly though, about 5 minutes later, the guy who was fading right around the 25, 26 mile point catches up with us and blows past both of us. So at this point, I'm really just hoping to finish the race. I've kind of disregarded time, place. I really didn't care. Even though looking back on it, I wish I kind of did. So the last couple miles are uphill, and then the last like mile and a half-ish is a downhill kind of flat section towards the finish. So I'm running with the guy who caught me at the mile 45 aid station, and we reached the crest of the hill before the final 2-mile descent. And I hear him say something where he mentions, oh, I'm fine with getting 5th today. So I knew mentally, oh, he's thinking I'm gonna beat him, even though I feel like he's feeling better than I am. And so I kind of logged that in the back of my mind. And as we're starting the descent, I completely eat shit. And I have a giant cut on my knee, but get back up and start rolling as fast as I can. So we reach the final downhill. I'm probably 50 meters ahead of him, and I'm just trying to hold on as much as I can. And with about a quarter mile to go, I hear him start chugging along, trying to catch me. And so for the last quarter mile, there's essentially a sprint finish, and I gun it as hard as I can and end up crossing the finish line 4th, but only to find out that he ended up actually beating me because he started a couple seconds after me at the start line. So his chip time was faster. So if you're watching this, curious about doing your first ultra, or want to know a little bit of maybe how to tackle this specific course, want to go over just a couple of things that I feel like I really took from this race. As again, someone who I never ran in high school, never ran in college, and really just trying to figure this thing out for myself. And the first thing is when you're doing these longer events, you have to be patient at the beginning. I think I probably went out just a little too fast, not a whole lot, but I think maybe if I would have evened out my pacing just a little bit more. From a race strategy perspective, I probably could have started passing people towards maybe the end. And maybe you're thinking, you know, you just want to finish like an ultra race, and that's completely admirable. But if you're someone like me who you're super competitive, you want to get into it, and you want to run with those front guys at the beginning, just know it does come with a cost. You really want to run your race, and then towards that back half, you can maybe start picking people off when they're starting to fade. So make sure you're running your own race, and usually that's going to result in your best time, which theoretically should put you in a better position. Or if you're kind of more of a middle or back of the pack type of runner, it's still really relevant. You get excited at the beginning, just like a marathon where you want to go out a little faster, but it does really pay to be steady with it. Another thing I really took away from this is just the pure importance on fueling. So my average heart rate for the whole race was around 165, and I really don't think I'd be able to hold this type of heart rate if I wasn't fueling the way I did. So during this whole entire 17-week training block, I was practicing taking in around 100 grams of carbs an hour, and really dialed it down to what specific types of fuel ended up working for me. So if you're someone who only takes maybe a couple gels during like a marathon, or doesn't really take much fuel during your long runs, would really suggest kind of trying and playing with taking in more fuel. Even during the training block, this was one of the first blocks that I had where I wasn't injured. I think a lot of this was due to taking in more fuel, which just recovered me faster for my next run. So this really just kind of ingrained in me the importance of trying to intake a little bit more fuel during both training and the actual race. All right, another point that I really learned from this race specifically is you need to expect that you're gonna have low points. And maybe that's a no-brainer, right? You know that you're gonna feel bad during these, but it kind of goes in waves where you feel bad, then good, then bad. And so it's really important to have a mental strategy of what you're gonna do when you hit those low points. So I told myself, all right, when I get to my first low point, I'm either going to take a literal 2 to 3 second walk break, or just slow my pace way down, take a deep breath, and kind of just mentally reset, and then pick the pace back up. And that ended up working pretty decent for me. I did lose quite a bit of time doing this, but helped me finish the race. And I think it's a good strategy of maybe it's not slowing down or walking per se, but just kind of having something in place, whether it's I'm gonna put in music for the first time when I have a low or something like that, I think will really help when you do inevitably hit those low points. All right, and then also in terms of the actual specific dead horse course, a couple things I really took away from this that if you're running it, I think could be really helpful for you. And the first thing is don't underestimate the elevation gain. Maybe you're someone who's run a couple races where there's been more vert in a shorter distance, and you go in and you're thinking, oh, 4,800 feet of vert for 50 miles, not too bad. Well, I think that is setting you up for failure. So in the lead pack at like mile 3, I remember talking with a couple of the guys and basically saying, hey, you guys ready for the first climb? And the general consensus was, what climb? It's like 100, 150, maybe 200 feet of gain per mile for the uphill sections, which really isn't bad. But the slick rock and the way that it's just uneven footing, it really starts to wear down your muscles, and it makes those not very steep sections feel extra steep. So in general, really try not to underestimate the amount of elevation gain, because you will be more broken down than maybe you expect. And then kind of with that, like I had mentioned before, the second descent, you need to make sure you're not planning to bank a ton of time on it, because it's probably the hardest section of the course given how close you are to the finish line, but also just how uneven it is and how hard it really is to find a rhythm. So no, you're gonna go a little maybe slower through this section than you would expect. And in my experience, I think just setting proper expectations for yourselves is gonna probably lead to a better outcome. And then also with the course, expect that sandy section from like mile 45 to 45 and a half-ish. It's gonna slow you down a little bit. No, it's only like a half mile long and you will get through it, but it is pretty frustrating. All right, so that's the Dead Horse 50-mile recap. Learning a ton. Hopefully you learned something from this as well. And if you're training for your first ultra or have done this race before, let me know in the comments what you thought about the course. Would love to hear your experience. And if you wanna follow along as I keep building toward bigger and bigger goals, go ahead and subscribe and stay tuned for the next one. Oh my God, trying to spin this chair. Oh, there we go. Whew. Why does this feel so uncomfortable now that I haven't done it in a while?